Charles Bronson says he'll make history with first ever public parole hearing. Britain's most notorious prisoner, Charles Bronson, says he should be having a pint of Guinness for Crimbo as he looks to secure a public parole hearing before the end of the year. Last month he became the first person to formally ask for his review to be held in the open. Now 70, Bronson has spent the vast majority of the last 50 years behind bars, with much of that time either in solitary confinement or a specialist unit. Speaking from the high security unit at HMP Woodhill in Milton Keynes, he said we could, should and make history here. Bronson, who changed his name in 2014 to Charles Salvador after the artist Salvador Dali, previously conceded he probably deserves a good 30 years caged up, but called the previous 20 nothing but revenge. He has targeted December the 12th for his jam roll hearing, writing, "My legal team are up for it. We could, should make history here. This mob have now run out of excuses on locking me up in a concrete coffin," says Bronson. "It's now just pure vindictiveness, make-believe crap. I should be having a pint of Guinness for Crimbo." The parole board said it has received an application for the hearing to be held in public, but no decision has yet been made. The process takes 4 to 6 weeks. Bronson is one of the UK's most infamous and longest serving prisoners. Born Michael Gordon Peterson in Luton, Bedfordshire in 1952, he indulged in petty crime from a young age. After receiving several reprimands and suspended sentences, he was handed a 7-year sentence for armed robbery in 1974. Aside from 2 brief stints of freedom, he has remained incarcerated ever since. Bronson's sentence began growing longer and he was switched between various prisons following attacks on guards and fellow inmates. He was moved to Parkhurst Psychiatric Facility where he befriended the Cray twins in 1976. Chronicling his subsequent spell at Broadmoor, Bronson described being in Ronnie Cray's company as like sitting with royalty. He staged one of his rooftop protests at the high security psychiatric facility, causing thousands of pounds worth of damage, before coming down when officials agreed to his demand for fish and chips, a mug of tea and some apple pie and pink custard. Bronson was released in 1987 but was back inside again just 69 days later following another armed robbery. During that time he began a short-lived career as a bare-knuckle boxer. He changed his name to Charles Bronson on the advice of his promoter. He was freed again in 1992 and spent even less time outside, being arrested over a robbery conspiracy some 53 days later and given an 8-year stretch. While on remand, he took a librarian hostage and told police to bring him an inflatable doll, a helicopter and a mug of tea. In 1996, he took 2 Iraqi hijackers and 1 inmate hostage at the high security Belmarsh prison and insisted they call him General. Bronson told negotiators he would eat one of them before demanding a helicopter to Cuba, a cheese and pickle sandwich and an ice cream to end the standoff. That came 2 years after he held a deputy prison governor hostage and 1 before he kidnapped an art teacher who criticised one of his paintings. Bronson was sentenced in 2000 to a discretionary life term with a minimum of 4 years. Writing in his book, Bronson published that same year, he said, "I'm a nice guy, but sometimes I lose all my senses and become nasty. That doesn't make me evil, just confused." In 2008, Tom Hardy played the role of Bronson in the epic film which was based on the hard man's life. Bronson now describes himself as a born-again artist and spends his days exercising, writing poetry and drawing. His sketches have helped raise thousands of pounds for various charities and other good causes. Bronson says that 90% of his artwork goes to the charities and it makes him feel proud and worthwhile. Bronson will have his work cut out as his parole hearing, but hopefully with a bit of luck he will be freed.